This is my official public press release statements by this plaintiff, James Kling, of only my partial victory in the Hugo Black Federal District Court, Birmingham, Alabama, that affects your own constitutional rights, and that you have the right to be informed to hear the truth of these matters and no longer be deceived, defrauded from full disclosure with full knowledge regarding your own constitutional rights. This began and is ongoing in the Federal District Court under Federal Judge Madeline Heikela, who has thrown the City of Irondale, Alabama, and their Municipal Court Judge Lee Barnes out of her courtroom on their falsified, fraudulent, perjured claims against me, James Kling, this plaintiff in this federal court action in Birmingham, Alabama. But now I need the public's help. This plaintiff, James Kling, makes this public pleading complaint to ask the public. I ask Alabama citizens, I ask American citizens to get involved, to intervene into this matter. And this plaintiff asks that all Alabamians, all American citizens across the country, please join with me to demand from our public servants, the United States Congress, President Donald Trump, to bring and order the FBI to investigate the Irondale, Alabama Municipal Court and Judge Lee Barnes to come into compliance with the law instead of standing in defiance, rebellion, insurrection, treason of the law against Americans' constitutional rights. This plaintiff asked the American people, as in we the people, to call, text, email the major news TV stations, Alabama Governor Kay Ivey, President Donald Trump, the United States Congress, your representatives, and the FBI Bureau in Washington, and wherever you are located, please get involved to prevent and stop this rogue judge, Lee Barnes, of the City of Irondale, Alabama, and his Irondale co-defendants joined to bring physical bodily injury, harm, to possible death against this innocent plaintiff, James Kling. You can contact me, plaintiff James Kling, at Post Office Box 59007, Homewood, Alabama 35259, or at my email address, handheldsignal@gmail.com. Please download this public notice and send to your friends and media everywhere and notify all authorities to intervene, as believe me when I tell you this matter affects your own constitutional rights now and will continue to do so in the future. Plaintiff was simply and clearly exercising my U.S. constitutional 14th Amendment liberty right and my First Amendment right to freedom to exercise religion clause, going to this plaintiff's definition of separation of church and state, where I was arrested going to church. Irondale, Alabama Judge Lee Barnes is acting above the law without any lawful constitutional subject matter jurisdiction authority. None. He is committing the complete judicial misconduct felony act of absence of jurisdiction against this plaintiff to false arrest, attempted extortion, and a malicious prosecution and abusive process in defiance of law against legislative, written state and federal law statutes in support, forbidding municipal governmental court power that Irondale Judge Lee Barnes does not have, has not been granted, overstepping the boundaries of Lee Barnes' restrictive, prohibitive limitations of law against this plaintiff under color of state law. Lee Barnes is acting against this plaintiff without standing or subject matter against the Code of Alabama 1975 in violation of statutes 1214.1a and 1214.30 sections F and G. Lee Barnes is also in violation of law at U.S. Constitution Article 6, Supremacy Clause 2, Clause 3 oath, whereby Lee Barnes has stood in defiance of law, duty, and constitutional oath to the Alabama State Constitution, 1901, Article 16, 279, Oath of Office, pursuant which Judge Lee Barnes did intentionally, premeditated with malice and deliberate indifference, did commit acts violating plaintiff's 14th Amendment, fundamental, well-settled, well-established, guaranteed, and protected liberty, life, property, happiness, due process clauses, violating the law against this plaintiff's First Amendment freedom to exercise of religion clause, affecting the very definition of separation of church and state itself, further violating this plaintiff's 4th, 5th, 6th, and 9th Amendments to the Bill of Rights. Lee Barnes is a rogue attorney judge at large, claiming to be in proper judicial robe above the law as a sovereign, claiming judicial sovereign immunity from his criminal felony behavior and acts, but acting in complete absence of jurisdiction, thereby has lost all entitlement to sovereign judicial immunity protection notwithstanding, and is now completely ripe to full prosecution accountability and must be held accountable, bound to stand to prosecution before a jury trial. Now to the dear people of Alabama, all American citizens everywhere, here is where you come in to help me. A court judge will not prosecute another judge. Of course, everybody would realize that. A fair trial cannot be attained here in Birmingham, Alabama for the reasons presented herein. Irondale Municipal Court Judge Lee Barnes has been thrown out of the federal district court by federal judge Madeline Heikkila. And yet Lee Barnes will not stop. Lee Barnes has now issued a fraud, perjured, defective arrest warrant against his plaintiff on September 20th, 2018. Yet Lee Barnes is proven in federal court having unlawful, unconstitutional, lack of standing, or subject matter judicial power to do this under the statutes law code of Alabama. Federal Judge Madeline Heikkila granted judicial order for plaintiff to proceed against Lee Barnes, as this plaintiff shall choose to pursue against Lee Barnes. Judge Lee Barnes ignores, evades, stands in defiance of the Bill of Rights, Supremacy Clause, Judicial Oath of Office, fails to even support, refusing to uphold and obey the United States Supreme Court holdings of law precedent on point that has already been decided a long time ago on these constitutional rights established to the American people, and also even cited in American jurisprudence law encyclopedias of law on these very same exact specific fact issues. This plaintiff requests to testify before a state or federal grand jury to hear these criminal felony charges and to hammer down the facts and the elements to the produced evidence that already stands in evidence on the federal district court record itself. In summation and solution, this plaintiff petitioner hereby requests President Donald Trump and Congress immediately step forward. And I ask that the public, we the people of America, the people of Alabama, all American citizens, to demand Lee Barnes and Irondale defendants be brought to stand jury trial against me in a public, televised court jury trial immediately without further delay to reach constitutional due process to the fair administration of justice. If Lee Barnes has nothing to hide, let Lee Barnes prove his innocence before a jury trial. This plaintiff will do the same, as the plaintiff is correct in obeying the law, upholding the law as written, where plaintiff is innocent of any wrongdoing of any description. Shocking to the American conscience, a rogue Judge Lee Barnes of the City of Irondale, Alabama, is fleeing from prosecution to break the law and remain shielded above the law to provoke insurrection rebellion against Americans' constitutional rights. This plaintiff and the American people are under threat. Lee Barnes committed felony acts and will also set a bad precedent to the law that will further attack your sacred constitutional rights. So please contact the authorities mentioned and help me to help you from the further travesties of injustice, as this does affect your constitutional rights already and will continue to do so in the future. Please contact me and get involved, and ask Donald Trump to come forward, as the federal court could not get the job done. Please contact James Kling at P.O. Box 59007, Homewood, Alabama 35259, and email me at handheldsignal@gmail.com. Thank you for your help, and I hope to hear from you soon.